water fountain. And this white woman came up and she said, "Don't touch that." She said, "That's the blacks." And that was 1956.
Wow. Yeah, but you lived through the period of the World War II, too.
Oh, yes.
So that's how you met.
I was born in World War One, lived through World War Two.
That Don fought on D-Day.
Yeah.
He was at Normandy. Right.
No, he was at Omaha Beach.
Omaha Beach.
Yeah.
It's just unbelievable. You weren't a nurse then yet, right?
Oh, yes.
Wow.
Yeah. I was a nurse in New Zealand.
Wow.
And I tried to enlist in the Army Nurse Corps, but the medical superintendent refused to let me go. He said we needed the nurses here.
Wow.
Heaven knows what would have happened.
But I don't understand why the country is getting so divided now.
It's worse. I mean,
and they're calling conservative Republicans Nazis. But Nazis were something far different. So when we forget history, it gets repeated. And how could they forget that World War II?
People don't want to remember.
Don't you remember
Nazi things.
Europe? Don't you remember riding through Europe after the war? Were you there after the war?
Oh, yes. Just after the war, 4 years after the war had completed.
So you still got to see some of the ruined buildings.
London.
Because Hitler bombed the crap. Didn't Hitler bomb the crap out of London?
Oh, yes. But they left St. Paul's Cathedral because they used that for navigation. But all around St. Paul's was flat. But here's this beautiful church right in the middle. And I stayed at some people's places. It was in Croydon, which is just outside of London. And their houses, and they weren't wealthy people, but they had a very nice home. And the home next to them, there was no sign of it. It had been bombed. And they were telling me, how at night time, it was hard to live. But they went through it. People are resilient, most people.
Well, and I read that Queen Elizabeth was a tough woman, and they were really just bombing the hell out of that city, and she didn't leave. She stayed.
But I don't think. No, she wasn't queen.
No?
No, not.
Who was the queen?
It was
her mother?
Her mother was King George V.
Oh, I thought it was Elizabeth.
No, but I happened to see her and Princess Margaret. It was the Lord Mayor's some big function in London.
Right.
And they were two beautiful girls.
Really?
Their complexions were just absolutely gorgeous.
Wow.
No, she worked in the army.
Wow.
Queen Elizabeth during the war.
She was tough. It's just such a time.
And that's why she's having to hold on, because she doesn't want Philip in there.
Right. She doesn't.
No, she's that's why here is William. And now she's, what's the woman's name that he married? Anyhow, she's on number 3 pregnancy.
Right.
So they probably won't have any more.
Right.
So just to have an heir to the throne
Wow.
and 2 others in case something happens to the first one.
Wow.
And I was at King George, stood in it, it was winter time. No, could have been, but it was cold anyhow. And watched the procession for George V.
George V. That must have been amazing.
Or was it George VI? I don't know. He's the one that had the stutter.
It almost sounds like a Monty Python movie.
And actually, I was kissed by the Queen Mother.
What?
Yeah.
How did you get that?
About this high. I was standing at the entrance to Nelson, the city of Nelson, and we lived right at the edge of
Right.
the county and the city. And she stopped, and we were, my sister and I, and it wasn't my brother, somebody else was, there were three of us, I know. And they stopped the car, and she got out, and she gave me a kiss on the cheek.
Wow. That's amazing. That is
But
really amazing.
we all pretty certain that she had another child while she was in Nelson.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
You're kidding.
Yeah.
And it would be kept a secret?
It's kept a secret.
Why?
Well, the baby died.
Oh. Wow.
But it was pretty well known. Well, I don't know whether it was a fact, but it was pretty well said that she lost the baby. So, anyway.
I just feel like this country and the world is forgetting about World War II if they're making those horrible comments to each other.
Well, I don't think people think things through or do enough research into it. But it's definitely, this is not the country that I came into in
Right.
56. And I mean, despite the fact that I said there were these two things, but everybody was
That was when 19 what?
56. He came to
Because my mother said she was on a bus in Austin, Texas, and that was probably 1955, 1956, and she got on the bus and sat down, and then all of a sudden the bus stopped, and the bus driver said, "Excuse me, ma'am, come here," and she's like, "What?" He goes, "Only the blacks sit in the back of the bus.
Yeah.
You need to move to the front of the bus." And she was from Philadelphia, and there wasn't segregation in Philadelphia. And I can't. When I met Grant, and he told me, "Oh yeah, there was desegregation in my school," and I said, "Why would there be desegregation? Didn't you just go to school with black kids?" And he goes, "No,
No, not in elementary school.
it was desegregation. So they were bringing in angry black kids to his high school, and it was constant riots and fights." I'm like, wow.
Well, I think I told you about going to the PTA meeting, and because Grant he said, "Well, I can't understand." First of all, he said, "I can't understand what the English teacher is saying." And I thought, "Oh yeah," because his grades were terrible. And I went and the woman said "was" instead of "were," and I mean,
She was speaking like in what is it called, Ebonics?
Yeah, no, she was speaking whatever she was
Black
speaking.
slang.
Black, not slang so much, but she didn't know how to put a sentence together, and I could not understand. I couldn't understand what she was saying, and so I went to the principal and complained about it. He said, "We cannot do anything about it."
That's absurd.
And a lot of the women teacher had never been to college, but they had tenure. So anyhow, it's time for us.
Time for bed.
You